7:13 a.m. Red and blue lights strobe across my front yard like a bad dream. Two police cruisers sit angled in my driveway, engines humming, radios crackling. The lead officer's hand floats near his holster, eyes fixed on me like I'm one move away from becoming tonight's news story. I'm standing there barefoot in jeans and a t-shirt, holding a coffee mug that says Army Corps of Engineers, trying to process how owning your own land suddenly turned into a police incident. 40 feet behind them stands Deidre Kensington, arms crossed, lips pursed, a smug little grin hiding under her oversized designer shades. She looks like she's posing for a Power Women of Pinewood Estates magazine cover. What she doesn't realize is that I've got something in my house that will unravel every lie she's told. One piece of paper that'll blow up her whole scheme. 4 hours earlier, she'd picked up the phone and called 911, claiming there was an armed squatter refusing to leave private property. Classic HOA intimidation move, or worse, a setup. Except I'm no squatter. I'm Garrett Hollins, 54, divorced, 2 kids in college and med school, and a former Army Corps of Engineers officer who spent 2 decades building things that mattered. I came back home to build something simple, a life in peace. 6 months ago, I bought this 3.2-acre patch on the edge of Pinewood Estates, paid in full, deed recorded, no strings attached. The plan? Turn the detached garage into a workshop, maybe a small machine shop where my kids could come by, hang out, and not trip over their mom's new boyfriend's golf clubs. The property's a beauty. A century-old oak in the front yard, its limbs creaking like a ship's rigging, sawdust in the air, sunlight dancing off metal shavings in my workshop. It's the kind of place a man can breathe. Before buying, I checked every boundary, every survey, every line on the map. My land sits outside Pinewood Estates HOA. I've got a 2018 survey to prove it. The property line ends 200 feet before their jurisdiction even begins. I knew better than to get tangled with an HOA. You hear the stories. Fines for lawn height. Liens for the wrong shade of beige. But 3 weeks after closing, the HOA quietly filed a boundary correction with the county, conveniently expanding their reach to include my property. No notice, no hearing, just bureaucratic sleight of hand. That's how Deidre entered my life. Deidre Kensington, 49, real estate agent, self-proclaimed community visionary. Think pastel blazer armor, pearl earrings, and a voice that could sand paint off a wall. Her white Lexus RX has the vanity plate HOA QN because subtlety is apparently against bylaws. She's infamous around here. Fines for kids' chalk drawings. Threats over flower pots. Rumors say she's forced foreclosures over $200 dues. To some, she's protecting property values. To others, she's a tyrant in heels, and she's got her biases. I've seen the way she talks to the 3 black families who live here. Or at them, more like. Cold to Ruben Cortez, my neighbor, retired machinist, Mexican-American, salt-of-the-earth guy. To Deidre, if you don't drive a Lexus or wear golf polos, you're a problem. Week 1, I get a certified letter. Thick envelope. Smells like toner and arrogance. A $2,500 violation for an unapproved structure. The garage, the one that's been here for 30 years, apparently offended her sense of order. I emailed back scans of my deed, my survey, even a legal note from a paralegal friend. Not subject to HOA jurisdiction. 2 weeks later, she showed up herself. Clipboard, sunglasses, taking photos like she's documenting a crime scene. She tells me I'm setting a dangerous precedent. I tell her to leave my property. 3 weeks after that, another letter. $5,000 in fines. $150 a day in continuing violations. Threat of foreclosure. The arrogance was almost impressive. That night, Ruben came over with a 6-pack. He shook his head, chuckling. They'll keep bleeding you, man. That's the game. They make it cost more to fight than to pay. But I wasn't about to roll over. I called Lucia Brennan, a sharp local attorney I'd helped years ago with a drainage project. She looked at the boundary filing and nearly laughed. Garrett, that's fraud. You've got them dead to rights. Turns out I wasn't the only target. A young couple, the Kents, were already $8,000 deep in fines over a swing set. Deidre's HOA wasn't a neighborhood association. It was a racket. So I ignored her letters. Stopped replying. If she wanted a war, she'd have to take me to court. That's when she went for the jugular. She filed a police report claiming I was trespassing on HOA property, my own driveway, and that I'd verbally threatened her. Completely fabricated. But to the responding officers, none of that mattered at first, which brings us back to 7:13 a.m., sunlight barely cutting through the mist, me standing in my driveway, coffee in hand, 2 cops sizing me up like a suspect. The lead officer introduces himself. Sergeant Pacheco, solid build, mid-40s, eyes sharp but calm. His partner looks younger, jittery, hand hovering near the door latch. I stay still, hands visible. Years of military experience teach you the one rule of survival. Don't give anyone a reason to pull the trigger. "Morning, officers," I say, voice steady. "I'm guessing this is about a call from Deidre Kensington?" Pacheco gives a slow nod, pulling a small notepad from his vest pocket. Deidre watches from behind her sunglasses, lips curved into that satisfied smirk. She thinks she's about to see me hauled off in cuffs. But what she doesn't know, inside my house, sitting neatly on the kitchen counter, is a folder with county records, my original deed, and the 2018 survey stamped and signed. Evidence that not only am I the legal owner of this property, but that her little boundary correction is about to cost her far more than a fine ever could. Because I'm not just another homeowner. I'm an engineer. I read blueprints for a living, and I'm about to dismantle her empire, one fraudulent inch at a time. 7:13 that morning had been the warm-up act. Now came the fallout. The cops had barely stepped out of their cruisers before the older one, Sergeant Pacheco, said, "We got a report of trespassing on HOA common property. Also a claim you verbally threatened the HOA president. Your side of it, sir?" I set my coffee down on the porch rail. "Happy to explain. But first, can I show you some paperwork?" I moved slow, steady, announcing every step like a soldier calling out coordinates. I retrieved the thick folder I kept by the door, my survey, deed, title, insurance, a full email chain with Deidre, and a crisp still from my dash cam showing her on my property 3 weeks earlier. Clipboard in hand, I spread everything out across the hood of Pacheco's cruiser. The metal was cool under my palms. The papers made that satisfying shuffle as he flipped through them one by one. He read carefully, lips pressed thin, cross-checking my survey with the county plat map on his phone. 5 minutes ticked by, radios murmuring in the background. 40 feet away, Deidre Kensington was still watching, arms folded, sunglasses hiding her eyes but not her fury. She looked like she was ready to melt the asphalt with her glare. Finally, Pacheco straightened up and called over his shoulder. "Ma'am, this appears to be a civil dispute, not criminal trespass. Mr. Hollins has documentation showing his property boundaries. You'll need to handle this through the courts." Her mask cracked like cheap porcelain. She marched forward, heels stabbing the driveway. "Excuse me? I pay your salary through my taxes, and you're telling me you won't enforce community rules?" Pacheco didn't blink. "Ma'am, I don't enforce HOA bylaws. That's civil, not criminal. If you believe there's a violation, hire a lawyer." For a heartbeat, she just stood there stunned, then spun on her heel, stomped to her white Lexus, and yanked the door open so hard I thought the hinges would snap. Her tires squealed as she sped off, the smell of burnt rubber lingering long after she disappeared. Pacheco shook his head. "Mr. Hollins," he said quietly, handing me his card, "off the record. Document everything. Every letter, every visit, every time she shows up. I've seen this game before. Next time, she'll make it sound worse." "Appreciate that," I said. The cruisers rolled away, leaving silence and exhaust behind. That's when it hit me. Deidre had just tried to weaponize law enforcement against me. This wasn't about dues or property lines anymore. It was about breaking me. I called Lucia Brennan, my attorney. She answered on the second ring. I told her everything. The false report, the police visit, Pacheco's warning. Lucia paused. "Garrett," she said finally, "she just flirted with malicious prosecution. If she's willing to lie to police, she'll lie under oath. I'm taking your case, or pro bono for now." Her first move was quick and brutal, a cease and desist to the HOA, demanding all fines and foreclosure threats be withdrawn immediately, warning that further harassment would trigger a lawsuit for malicious prosecution and abuse of process. She also filed a formal complaint with the county about the unlawful boundary expansion. Here's your first knowledge nugget. If your HOA suddenly claims your property, check your state's notice laws. Most require certified mail before changing boundaries. No notice means the change is void. Dedra's response came fast and loud. My neighbor Ruben heard about it before I did. She'd called an emergency board meeting. Her story? A hostile squatter is threatening our community and filing frivolous legal claims. The 4 board members, now all terrified of crossing her, voted to pursue all legal remedies. Translation: double down. 2 days later at the hardware store, I ran into Travis and Mallory Kent, young couple, mid-30s, their toddler on Mallory's hip. Garrett, Travis said, we heard you got a lawyer. Can she help us too? Turns out 9 families were already drowning in HOA fines. One elderly couple was facing foreclosure over a $400 late fee that had ballooned into $12,000. That's when it clicked. This wasn't about my land anymore. Deidre wasn't enforcing order. She was running a profit racket. That night, Ruben and I sat on my porch, beers in hand, cicadas buzzing. You know what Dedra's real problem is? I said. She's got HOA president syndrome, like mall cop energy with a gavel. Ruben laughed. Nah, man. She's got yacht club energy in a kiddie pool subdivision. Thinks she's ruling the Hamptons, but it's just Tulsa. We were still laughing when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo of my truck in the Home Depot parking lot. Caption: we're watching. I sent it straight to Lucia. Her reply came quick. Install cameras tonight. See, I'd faced real threats before. IEDs, ambushes, places where fear had a face. This suburban intimidation campaign wasn't going to shake me, but it sure as hell lit a fire. Week 7, the HOA struck back. They filed a lawsuit in county court for declaratory judgment to enforce covenants. Their argument: even if my land was outside the original HOA, the corrected plat map made it binding. Their lawyer? Conrad Trimble, 60s, slick hair, local reputation for scaring people into settling. One of those guys who advertises on bus benches and preys on fear. Lucia didn't flinch. She filed a motion to dismiss and a counterclaim for fraud, harassment, and abusive process. Then came discovery. Subpoenas for HOA financials, board minutes, bank transfers, the works. Here's the second knowledge nugget. When someone claims authority over your property, always check if they sent proper legal notice. Improper notice can invalidate fines, liens, even lawsuits. What Lucia found was a gold mine. The corrected plat had never been properly noticed. The annexation was legally void, but Deidre didn't care. She escalated. Inspectors started showing up weekly, photographing my property. I woke one morning to find orange violation stickers slapped across my garage, mailbox, even my truck. They smelled like glue and spite, leaving sticky residue that took 20 minutes, and half a can of WD-40 to scrub off. Ruben. Caught one inspector on camera standing on my trash cans to take photos over my fence. Trespassing. Installed 6 security cameras, uploaded footage to the cloud, and logged every incident in a color-coded Google Doc. Lucia loved it. Discovery's a beautiful thing, she said. Let's see how clean their hands really are. Spoiler, they weren't. Her paralegal uncovered $140,000 missing from HOA financial records, hidden under vague line items like administrative fees and community enhancement consulting. Dedra's own LLC had been paid $18,000 for property management, even though the HOA already contracted another company. This wasn't neighborhood pettiness. It was embezzlement. That weekend, Mallory Kent hosted a secret backyard meeting. 11 families showed up sharing horror stories. Solar panels fined despite being protected by state law. A widower nearly losing his home over $400 in dues. I suggested forming a coalition, maybe even a class action. Lucia, sitting quietly in the back, nodded. I can work with this. Of course, word got back to Deidre. Someone on the board leaked it. She called another emergency meeting and passed a special assessment, $1,000 a month for any homeowner organizing against the HOA. Next day, I got the notice. So did Travis, Mallory, and 4 others. Extortion wearing a suit and tie, then it got personal. Late one night, My doorbell camera caught someone spray painting "deadbeat" across my garage door. In the footage, a white Lexus RX, license plate barely visible. I sent it to Lucia and Sergeant Pacheco. His reply, "That's vandalism. File a report. We'll increase patrols." I filed it, cleaned the garage the next morning. The chemical smell of solvent clung to my hands for hours. My daughter texted, "Dad, are you okay?" Mom said, "You're in some legal thing." I told her it was fine, but it wasn't. Dedra's tactics were bleeding into my family life. Sleep became optional. I spent nights cross-referencing documents, building timelines. That's when Lucia called again. "Garrett," she said, "I've been digging through property records. You need to see this." She sent a spreadsheet. 3 homes foreclosed by the HOA in the last 2 years. All purchased at auction by Dedra's LLC or board members' family trusts for half their market value, then flipped months later for massive profit. This wasn't just greed. It was organized theft. Lucia updated our counterclaim, adding federal RICO allegations and filing a complaint with the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission. If proven, Dedra could lose her license and then maybe her freedom. Next step? I asked. Lucia didn't hesitate. We go public. Civil courts move slow, but sunlight moves fast. Week 10. The HOA tightens the noose. A lien appears on my property despite the annexation dispute still pending. Trimble, ever the snake, argues it's standard procedure. The judge allows it temporarily, freezing my equity and turning my finances into a hostage situation. Dedra knows exactly what she's doing. Psychological warfare. Soon the whispers begin. Garrett's difficult. He doesn't respect community rules. The Pinewood Estates Facebook group, 200 members deep, lights up with vague posts about delinquent homeowners. No names, but everyone knows who she's pointing at. Neighbors who once waved now look away. My son calls. "Dad, Mom said you're in legal trouble." I tell him it's fine, but inside I'm seething. Sleep becomes a memory. I'm up at 3 a.m., surrounded by coffee cups and spreadsheets. That's when the engineer in me takes over. I start tracing every HOA-linked foreclosure from county records, 5 years of transactions. Dates, buyers, resale prices. A pattern emerges. Every foreclosed property winds up in the hands of Dedra's LLC or her board members' relatives. Bought for 40–50% under market, flipped months later for 6-figure profits. This isn't mismanagement. It's organized fraud. I call Lucia at dawn. "We've got them. This isn't civil anymore, it's RICO." She pauses, then says, "Mail fraud, wire fraud, racketeering. We take this federal." Within a day, she files an amended counterclaim and contacts the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission. Dedra's license is officially under investigation. That's when Lucia gives me her third golden rule. RICO laws aren't just for mobsters. If someone uses an organization to commit a pattern of fraud, it's racketeering. Her next move: we need pressure. Civil courts crawl. Media moves fast. I hesitate. I'm ex-military, private, allergic to attention. But Mallory steps up. "I'm a freelance journalist. Let me take this to the Tulsa Gazette." She does. The moment Dedra catches wind that we've exposed the foreclosure trail, she panics. An emergency HOA meeting follows. Motion to settle. Drop all fines, remove the lien, clear the slate. If I sign an NDA and release all claims, Trimble delivers it over Zoom. "Mr. Holland," he says smoothly, "you should consider this carefully. Discovery gets ugly for everyone." I laugh right into the camera. "Tell Dedra I don't negotiate with con artists." See you in court. Lucia's smile says it all. When they offer to settle, they're scared. A week later, we hold another community meeting, double the turnout. 22 families crowd the VFW hall. The smell of burnt coffee and wood polish thick in the air. Lucia lays it out in plain English. If we prove this foreclosure scheme intentional, we can void the sales, and some of you may get your homes back. An elderly woman in the back starts crying. "I lost my house 2 years ago. I thought I was the only one." I stand. "You're not alone." "None of us are." Ruben nods. Travis takes notes. Mallory records everything. It feels less like a meeting, more like justice waking up. Then that night, Ruben sends me a screenshot. A fake Facebook account, Pinewood Truth Teller, posting lies. Claims I'm a grifter working with investors to take over the neighborhood. Photoshop documents. Fabricated proof. Within hours, it's viral among residents. Travis traces the IP address. Deidre's home network. Mallory's follow-up article hits hard. HOA president behind fake social media smear campaign. Screenshots, metadata, timestamps, the works. Facebook deletes the account. Deidre's credibility implodes. And that's when I know she's desperate. The morning of the auction. 7:15 a.m. I'm on my porch with coffee when Deidre's Lexus rolls up. She steps out. No makeup, messy hair, eyes red. 2 board members hang behind her. "Garrett, please," she says, voice trembling. "I'll resign." "We'll drop everything. Just don't buy the property. Let someone neutral handle it." "Neutral?" I ask. "Like one of your LLC buddies who'll flip it and gut the neighborhood again?" Her composure shatters. "You don't understand. If you do this, I lose everything, my license, my business." I stare at her. "You should have thought about that before turning this place into your personal ATM." By 7:45, we're at the courthouse. Trimble's son, another lawyer, leans in. "You sure you want to do this? People who cross the wrong folks sometimes find opportunities drying up." I smile. "Are you threatening me in front of witnesses?" Ruben's recording the whole thing. They back off fast. Lucia files a harassment report within the hour. 1 a.m., the auction begins. The auctioneer reads the description of the HOA's common property. Clubhouse, pool, parklands, monuments. Opening bid, $850,000. I raise my paddle. $875,000. Silence. "Going once, twice." Deidre shouts from the back. "He's not even part of the HOA." The auctioneer barely looks up. "Ma'am, public auction. Anyone can bid." Bang. Sold to bidder 7 for $875,000. I hand over the cashier's check and walk out with the deed. Cameras flash. "How does it feel?" a reporter asks. I look into the lens. Feels like justice. Only then does the full picture hit me. What I bought isn't just land, it's leverage. The HOA's authority came from its ownership of the 22-acre common property. The pool, clubhouse, detention ponds, everything. "But now I own it," Lucia calls as I sit in my truck. "You don't own the HOA's power yet," she says. "But Oklahoma law gives you an opening. If the common area owner proves insolvency, the HOA can be dissolved." "How do we prove that?" "Easy," she says. Defaulted $1.2 million loan, unpaid judgments, missing funds. They're bankrupt. Her plan is elegant. Prove insolvency, dissolve the HOA, then transfer the property into a community land trust. Non-profit, democratic, transparent. Everything this HOA failed to be. There's just one problem. I only had $200,000 saved. I call my brother Caleb in Texas, a commercial developer. "I need $400K fast. Bridge loan." He pauses. "What's the play?" I tell him. Another pause, then a chuckle. "That's the most Garrett thing I've ever heard." "I'm in." That leaves $275K. The next morning, Mallory's story drops on the Tulsa Gazette's front page. HOA president accused of fraud as neighborhood faces foreclosure. It's sharp, detailed, and devastating. The public outrage spreads like wildfire. For the first time, the people of Pinewood Estates see Deidre for what she truly is, and they see that justice might finally be on their side. By dawn, the story has gone nuclear. First, the Tulsa Gazette, then local TV. By evening, Oklahoma City newscasts run segments titled HOA Scandal Unraveling in Pinewood Estates. Overnight, Reddit explodes. Front page. Thousands of comments from people sharing their own HOA nightmares. I launch a GoFundMe, Save Pinewood Estates. Stop HOA corruption. Goal, $250,000 to cover the auction gap and legal fees. Within 72 hours, it surges past $180,000. Donations come from everywhere. Veterans, retirees, families who lost homes to shady boards, people who just hate bullies in suits. Every message feels personal. "You're fighting for all of us." Meanwhile, Deidre's world burns. The Gazette article detonates her reputation. Her phone won't stop buzzing. Board members resign one by one. Homeowners demand answers. She scrambles to call emergency meetings, but the bank controls the auction now. Trimble, sensing the end, finally snaps. "I don't represent criminals," he says, walking out. Lucia, ever tactical, brings in reinforcements, a non-profit attorney who specializes in community land trusts. Together, they draft the blueprint for Pinewood Commons Trust. Its mission: maintain shared spaces, uphold reasonable standards, and operate with transparency. Everything the HOA failed to do. 7 board members, 2-year limits, open meetings streamed online. Knowledge nugget: community land trusts, CLTs, are legal structures that hold land collectively for the community's benefit. They prevent both HOA-style authoritarianism and corporate gentrification. Search CLT model in your state. You'll be surprised what's possible. The auction's just 18 days away. Financing secured. Strategies airtight. But Lucia warns, "Garrett, remember, cornered animals bite." She's right. 2 days later, I get a call from Detective Morrison at the district attorney's office. "Mr. Holland, we've reviewed the evidence your attorney submitted. We're issuing a warrant for Deidre Kensington's arrest, felony embezzlement, fraud, and perjury. Do you know her location?" "I don't. She's vanished. Her house just hit the market, 50 grand below value." Morrison sighs. "We'll find her. In the meantime, beef up your security. People facing prison get unpredictable. I take it seriously. Cameras upgraded, motion lights installed, Ruben keeping a quiet watch from across the street. Tomorrow's the court hearing to dissolve the HOA. Whether she shows up or not, the end's coming. The next 48 hours are pure coordination, every gear in the machine turning." Lucia Brennan, legal commander. She manages filings, affidavits, dissolution petitions. Her plan: prove insolvency, expose fraud, demonstrate community consent. Oklahoma Statute, Title 47, Section 11109 gives us the right. If an HOA is insolvent and the common area owner petitions, the court can dissolve it. The law's on our side. Mallory Kent, media strategist. 2 more follow-up pieces published. A California documentary producer calls her. Social media pressure's massive. GoFundMe's now at $210K. Ruben Cortez, my right hand. Keeps homeowners calm, tracks board chatter, makes sure I eat real food and not just coffee. Travis Kent, tech genius. Builds a transparent website for the upcoming trust. Real-time budgets, live-streamed meetings, encrypted coalition channels. Caleb Holland, my brother, the developer. Wired $400K and guides me on asset protection once the dust settles. Sergeant Pacheco, still monitoring Dedra's potential data purge. If she wipes records, he warns, it's obstruction. Keep everything backed up. The legal roadmap: I've already bought the HOA's land. While Lucia proves insolvency: 1.2 million loan in default, 200K in judgments, 250K embezzled. Petition for dissolution. Judge appoints a receiver. Transfer property to Pinewood Commons Trust for $1. A symbolic rebirth. Every homeowner gets 1 vote. No proxies, no hidden deals. Takeaway: an insolvent HOA is legally hollow. If it owes more than it owns, a single petition can topple it. Research your state's nonprofit dissolution statutes. Power might already be in your hands. But we know Deidre won't go quietly. She'll try to bury evidence, move money, rewrite history. So we preempt her. Travis scrapes every version of the HOA website using the Wayback Machine. Lucia subpoenas bank statements before funds disappear. Mallory secures affidavits from ex-board members who witnessed her scheme. Every angle locked tight. Meanwhile, I host 3 town halls at the VFW Hall. Attendance snowballs. 50 families the first night, 80 the second, over 100 by the third. The smell of fresh coffee replaces fear. I walk them through what's next. When the HOA's dissolved, dues drop to 0 temporarily. The trust takes over. We'll vote on new budgets, maybe $45 a month for essentials. No more petty fines, no more mailbox inspections, no more tyranny. An elderly man asks, "What if someone else bought the property?" I nod. Then they'd control everything. Raise fees, sell off land. We got lucky. But luck favors preparation. Another woman, voice trembling, stands. "My husband and I almost lost our home over $1,800 in fines. We stopped talking to neighbors. You're giving us our lives back." I just nod. Ruben's hand on my shoulder. "That's why we're here. We even host financial literacy nights, teaching residents about foreclosure law, property rights, and land trusts. Knowledge Nugget 2. Non-judicial foreclosures, common in Oklahoma, Texas, California, Arizona, don't require a courtroom. A trustee sale can happen with just public notice. Knowledge Nugget 3. Community land trusts, collective ownership that ends HOA abuse and blocks predatory developers. The night before the hearing, I'm in my workshop. Lathe humming, mind quiet. I'm not building anything, just thinking. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about fixing a system that forgot who it's supposed to serve. I text my kids. Big day tomorrow. My daughter replies, "We're proud of you, Dad. Go be the hero." My son sends a Captain America gif. I smile. Reuben drops by with beer. Win or lose, we drink after. If we lose, I tell him, we'll need tequila. He grins. Already in the truck. The hearing's at 9 a.m. Lucia's confident. Dedra's invited, but probably too afraid to show. Still, Lucia's words echo in my head. Cornered animals are dangerous. 4:00 p.m., the day before. Lucia calls. Trimble just filed an emergency injunction trying to stall the dissolution. How fast can you get there? I'm already driving. 6 p.m. courthouse, fluorescent lights, heavy air. Trimble looks like he hasn't slept in days. His argument's a mess. Claims the trust violates homeowner rights and cites Arizona law that doesn't even apply in Oklahoma. Lucia dismantles him in 10 minutes. Your Honor, she says, calm but lethal, this is a last-minute delay tactic. The foreclosure was lawful, and Mr. Holland's ownership is valid. Judge Vickers peers over her glasses. Counselor, your injunction is denied. This court will not interfere with due process. Gavel hits. Trimble storms out. That night, another fake Facebook account pops up. Pinewood Truth Teller. Smears me again, calling me a con man backed by California developers. Doctored LLC documents. It spreads fast. Travis tracks the IP. Dedra's house. Again. Mallory publishes instantly. HOA president behind new fake account. By sunrise, Facebook deletes it. Dedra's credibility is dust. 7:15 a.m. hearing day. I'm on my porch, coffee in hand, when Dedra's Lexus rolls up. She steps out. No makeup, messy bun, trembling hands. The armor's gone. 2 board members trail behind her like ghosts. Garrett, she pleads, voice cracking. I'll resign. We'll drop everything. Just don't go through with this. Let someone neutral handle it. I set my cup down. Neutral? Like one of your shell LLCs? She's shaking now. You don't understand. If you do this, I lose everything. My license, my business. I meet her eyes. You should have thought about that before you turned this place into your personal ATM. She exhales shakily, whispers, destroying me won't fix anything. I'm not destroying you, I tell her. I'm making sure you can't destroy anyone else. Then she leaves. No screeching tires, just quiet defeat. 7:45 a.m. Courthouse steps. 2 men approach, Trimble's son and a heavyset associate. You sure about this? The son mutters. People who fight the wrong battles see their opportunities dry up. I square my shoulders. Are you threatening me on courthouse grounds in front of witnesses? Reuben's phone's already recording. They freeze, mumble friendly advice, and vanish. Lucia files a harassment complaint before we even sit down. 9 a.m., the courtroom's packed. 60 homeowners, reporters, cameras, our side full, HOA's side almost empty. Judge Vickers enters. We rise. Then the doors swing open. Dedra walks in, black suit, oversized sunglasses, pale and shaking, followed by a rookie lawyer who can't be older than 28. Lucia presents our case crisp and deadly. Your Honor, the HOA is insolvent, funds misappropriated, common property foreclosed, assets zero. Statute grants dissolution. Dedra's lawyer stammers through a flimsy rebuttal. We're preparing our own audit. Judge Vickers frowns. You've had a week. Sit down. Dedra suddenly stands, ignoring her attorney. This is a sham, she yells. He's stealing our neighborhood. The gallery stirs. I worked for that community for years. If I took money, I earned it. The judge's tone hardens. Miss Kensington, sit down. But before she can continue, the side door opens. Detective Morrison enters, uniformed officer beside him. He approaches the bench, hands over a folder. The judge reads, then looks up. Miss Kensington, there's a warrant for your arrest. The room goes silent. Detective Morrison steps forward, his voice steady, calm. Dedra Kensington, you're under arrest for felony embezzlement, fraud in the second degree, and perjury. You have the right to remain silent. The gavel echoes once more, but this time it sounds like justice. Dedra's face turns ghostly pale. You can't do this. I have rights, she stammers, her voice cracking through the tense silence. Her new lawyer looks like he'd rather sink through the floor. Detective Morrison doesn't flinch. He keeps reading her Miranda rights with steady authority. The uniformed officer steps forward, handcuffs glinting under fluorescent light. Garrett, Dedra shrieks, twisting toward me. You did this! You destroyed my life. I'll fight you, all of you. You'll regret this! The cuffs snap shut with a metallic click that echoes through the courtroom like a full stop to years of chaos. Her sobs fill the room, mascara running, shoulders shaking. The officer guides her toward the side door. It closes behind her with a heavy thud, leaving behind only her muffled shouting, "This isn't over!" For a beat, no one breathes. Judge Vickers adjusts her glasses and exhales. Well, she says dryly, that was enlightening. Nervous laughter ripples through the crowd. She clears her throat and resumes in her crisp, controlled tone. After reviewing the financial records, forensic audit, and submitted affidavits, this court finds the Pinewood Estates Homeowners Association insolvent and engaged in fraudulent activity. Her eyes lock onto the remaining board members. They shrink into their seats like scolded children. Petition for dissolution is hereby granted, she continues. Ms. Lucia Brennan is appointed receiver to wind down the association's affairs. A homeowner ratification vote will proceed within 30 days. Mr. Holland's countersuit for harassment and malicious prosecution is also approved. Damages hearing to be scheduled. The gavel strikes. Case closed. The room erupts, not in chaos, but in cathartic celebration. Applause, tears, hugs. People I barely know grab my hand, thanking me through sobs. An elderly woman clutches my arm. You gave us our home back, she whispers, voice trembling. Lucia's already on her phone, organizing next steps. Reuben wraps me in a crushing bear hug. You took down an empire, brother! Caleb records the moment, laughing through disbelief. Mallory's typing furiously, live posting updates. Within minutes, tens of thousands are watching online. Outside the courthouse, cameras flash, microphones appear. Reporters shout over one another, Mr. Holland, what's your reaction to today's verdict? I take a breath. This isn't about victory, I say. It's about restoring power to the people who live here, families who just wanted fairness. Another reporter asks, what's next for Pinewood Estates? I glance at Lucia. We're building something new, a community land trust. Transparent, democratic, and accountable. The way it always should have been. Any message for others facing HOA corruption? Someone calls out. I look straight into the nearest camera. Document everything. Don't stay quiet. Bullies rely on silence, so make noise. As I speak, a police cruiser glides past. Dedra sits in the back seat, eyes hollow, mascara smeared, staring into nothing. I don't look long. My focus is on the crowd, on the neighbors smiling through tears. The sun glares off the courthouse limestone. The air smells like hot pavement and relief. A church bell rings noon. Reuben smirks. Man, even action movies don't end this clean. I chuckle. Yeah, but Hollywood couldn't write a villain that self-destructive. Mallory taps her phone. Netflix should call any minute. That night I sit on my porch, the one Dedra once tried to find me over. My daughter calls. Dad, you're trending everywhere. You okay? I watch the sunset, calm for the first time in months. Better than okay, sweetheart. I'm free. We all are. Across the street, kids play tag in the yard. Parents chat without fear of citations. For once, Pinewood feels like a neighborhood again. But Dedra's arrest isn't the finale. It's the spark. Detective Morrison's investigation widens. Subpoenas reveal that the board used HOA funds to buy foreclosed homes under fake names. 2 board members are arrested. The third flips providing evidence. Local stations run daily segments. CNN and NPR pick it up. Lucia files to void fraudulent foreclosures and wins. 3 families get their homes back. Titles cleared. Dedra's LLC is forced to surrender profits, $240,000 distributed among victims. The elderly widow who lost her home holds her keys, sobbing in Lucia's office. I never thought I'd step inside my house again. Mallory's documentary, The HOA That Fought Back, hits 2.5 million views in a week. Comments flood in, "This happened in Phoenix." Our HOA does the same. How do we fight back? It becomes a movement. 3 more Oklahoma neighborhoods use our model to dissolve their corrupt HOAs. State legislators introduce a reform bill, mandatory audits, open meetings, capped fees. 30 days later, Pinewood Estates holds its homeowner vote. Out of 127 homes, 119 families show up. The final tally, 114 yes, 5 no. The old guard still bitter, and just like that, the HOA is gone. 3 weeks later comes the real celebration. A town hall in the clubhouse Dedra once claimed as her personal office. Saturday, 2 p.m., the parking lot's packed. Neighbors, reporters, even folks from nearby towns crowd in. The air buzzes with excitement. Inside, the walls are freshly painted, soft cream instead of that soulless beige Dedra loved. I step to the podium. The mic screeches before Travis fixes it. 3 months ago, I begin, I moved here looking for peace. Instead, I got fines, threats, and a lien on my property. But here's what I learned. Broken systems don't fix themselves. You fix them by building better ones. I click to the first slide, the old HOA's budget. You paid $385 a month. Where'd it go? $18,000 to Dedra's company. $47,000 in legal fees over mailbox paint. $140,000, just gone. The crowd is silent, angry, but listening. Next slide. Under the new trust, $45 a month. Covers maintenance, insurance, landscaping, and savings. No salaries, no hidden contracts. Every dollar public. Applause erupts. I continue. We're changing more than numbers. We're changing culture. No more fines for colors, toys, or garden decor. If something's unsafe, we handle it as neighbors, not enforcers. Another standing ovation. An older man asks, "What about families who lost homes?" Lucia steps up. 3 already got theirs back. 2 more are in final paperwork. By month's end, everyone will be made whole. Cheers shake the room. The elderly widow stands, waving through tears. Then Travis announces something new, the Pinewood Opportunity Fund. Using the $75,000 in damages I donated, we're funding scholarships for local kids. 2 $5,000 awards each year, renewable for 4. Parents tear up. Mallory speaks last. The documentaries reached millions. 43 HOAs nationwide have contacted us. We're building a free online resource to help others fight back. The crowd cheers again. I take the podium one last time. This started with one house under siege. It ends with a community reborn. Pinewood Estates isn't just saved, it's transformed. And for the first time, in that bright, renovated clubhouse, everyone believes it. Online voting went live that morning, verified by email, fully transparent, and open for everyone to see. I read the results aloud as the room held its breath. The winners: a retired school teacher, a nurse, a mechanic, a small business owner, a stay-at-home dad, an engineer, and a college student home for the summer. A real cross-section of Pinewood. Each stood as their name was called, greeted with cheers, not a single boo. For the first time, it felt like real democracy had taken root here. I took a deep breath and said, 4 months ago, Dedra Kensington told me I didn't belong in this neighborhood. Turns out she was wrong. We all belong here. And now this neighborhood finally belongs to us. The clubhouse erupted. No polite clapping this time. It was thunderous, joyous chaos. Foot stomps echoed off the walls. People whistled, shouted, hugged. Through the windows, I could see kids laughing on the playground equipment that had once been under threat of demolition. When the meeting ended, no one rushed out. Instead, they stayed, talking, laughing, bringing out grills, coolers, food. It became an impromptu block party. The same building that had once symbolized control and fear was now filled with music and laughter. As the sun dipped low, Reuben found me near the door, 2 cold beers in hand. He passed me one. "You did good, brother." I smiled and shook my head. "We did good." He raised his bottle. "To freedom from petty tyrants." I clinked mine against his. "And to never becoming one ourselves." 30 days later, the Pinewood Commons Trust was fully operational. The first board meeting streamed live online, just like we promised. Over 120 people tuned in. The first order of business, lowering dues to $45 a month, an 88% cut. The second, repealing every cosmetic rule Deidre's HOA had ever enforced. Paint your house purple, plant a dozen flamingos in your yard, live your life, one board member said to applause. Within weeks, the community garden broke ground, 2 acres of shared land. 20 families signed up the first day. By summer, it was bursting with tomatoes, herbs, and squash. The surplus went to the Tulsa Food Bank. Over 300 pounds donated that first season. A Vietnam vet planted a small memorial rose garden in one corner. The neighborhood kids helped him water it after school. Then came the Pinewood Opportunity Fund, our first scholarships. 2 students chosen, a young woman heading to nursing school after her family nearly lost their home to HOA fines, and a boy who wanted to study engineering, said I'd inspired him. I tried not to cry at the ceremony. Failed miserably. In July, Deidre pleaded guilty. No trial, no spectacle. 3 years in state prison. $240,000 in restitution. Her real estate license, gone for good. Her house went to foreclosure, sold for 60% of what she paid. The buyers, a young couple with a toddler, thrilled to live somewhere without an HOA. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The local paper ran a side-by-side, Deidre's mugshot beside a photo of the blooming community garden. No headline could have captured the contrast better. The 2 board members who helped her got 18 months each. The one who cooperated got probation and community service. All 3 permanently banned from serving on any HOA board again. Then came something even bigger. The Oklahoma State Legislature passed the HOA Transparency Act, requiring open meetings, capped fees, and annual audits. It even earned bipartisan support. The governor signed it that November. Some people started calling it Garrett's Law, though that credit belongs mostly to Lucia. She pushed it over the finish line. Other communities followed our lead. 3 in Oklahoma, 2 in Texas, 1 in Arizona, all dissolved corrupt HOAs using the Pinewood model. Mallory's documentary was picked up by a major streaming platform, a 6-part docuseries about ordinary neighbors standing up to abuse of power. I declined heavy involvement. The story had outgrown me. Meanwhile, I finished building my workshop. Now I teach weekend metalworking classes for kids and adults, 12 students so far. Our next project, a pergola for the community garden. My son visited at Christmas. We built a bookshelf together. My daughter came for Thanksgiving and told me, "Dad, you finally found your purpose after the Army." Maybe she's right. The Legal Defense Fund. I started with $25,000 from my court settlement, now sits at $70,000 thanks to donations. We've already helped 4 families fight off predatory HOAs. One woman in Phoenix kept her home after her board tried to foreclose over $400 in dues. We found her a lawyer. She won. Most evenings, Reuben and I still sit on my porch, beers in hand, watching the neighborhood kids play in yards once ruled by fear. Ever regret it? He asked one night. I thought for a second. Not even close. When spring came, the 150-year-old oak in my front yard bloomed again, its branches no longer creaking like a warning, but swaying peacefully, like even it could feel the change. One Saturday, a car pulled into my drive. A young couple stepped out, nervous but smiling. "Are you Garrett Hollins?" The woman asked. "That's me," she smiled. "We just moved 3 blocks over. Our realtor said you're the reason this neighborhood doesn't have an HOA anymore. We just wanted to say thank you. We couldn't afford anywhere else because of HOA fees." I shook their hands. "Welcome to Pinewood. You're going to love it here." As they drove off, it hit me. This was what victory truly looked like. Not courtrooms or headlines. It was freedom. Families living without fear, kids playing without citations, neighbors who trusted each other again. I came here just to build a workshop and live quietly. But somehow I ended up helping build something bigger, a community worth fighting for. So here's my question to you. Have you lived through an HOA nightmare? Tell me your story in the comments. You're not alone, and your story matters. And if you want to hear more tales of everyday people standing up to corruption, make sure to subscribe. Next time, a homeowner in Florida discovers her HOA president was running a Ponzi scheme. You won't believe what she did about it.